Hi, welcome back to the challenge. In today's class, we're going to focus on hip external rotation in the standing poses. And then we're going to add a different degree of balance difficulty. So let's get started. Begin in child's pose. So in this variation of child's pose, have your big toes together and your knees just wide enough for your torso to fit in between. Then come back up onto your hands and your knees for a moment, and we're going to work on the ankle positioning. So the tendency when you go to sit back will be for your ankles to want to splay out if they're tight like that. So instead, I want you to focus on keeping the inner ankle lengthened as you go to sit back. Go ahead, Amber. Even if you can't sit all the way back with the ankle in that position, I want you to work that position so that you'll start to improve your ankle flexibility. Otherwise, if you always let the ankle sickle in, then you're never going to get the opening that you need for your inner ankle. Come up onto your hands and your knees now. And then with your left knee down, open up into side plank. So left knee, left hand down, take your right arm up. Now glance down at your left knee, and let me see if you can swivel your left foot towards your right foot a bit, so that your thigh will start to externally rotate. Then use the muscles in your left outer hip. So the muscles in the outer hip, the glute max, those are what externally rotate your thigh. So I want you to feel those muscles start to engage to help to externally rotate and abduct the thigh. And at the same time, feel that your inner leg can lengthen. So those tight inner leg muscles, let those soften. Bring your hand back down and change sides. With your right knee down, open up. So you have the thigh externally rotated in relationship to the pelvis. Feel your glute max as you engage it can help that to happen. But you'll notice if you squeeze it too aggressively, too much too soon, then your inner leg will tense up too. And when the inner leg tenses up on the front of the pelvis, it tends to make you tuck and round. So find just the right amount where you can still open up and elongate through your spine. Bring your left hand back down, stretch back into downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank pose. Exhale, stretch back into downward dog. Inhale forward into plank. Exhale, stretch back into dog. One more, inhale into plank. Exhale, stretch back to dog. Now inhale your right leg up behind you. And as you exhale, bring your knee to the outside of your right armpit. Inhale, reach back up, three-legged dog. Exhale to your left pit. Inhale, back up. Exhale, step your foot up to your right thumb. Spin your back heel down onto the ground. Put your right hand on the inside of your foot. Bring your left hand to your hip and turn your chest open. So now the thigh has stayed steady, but we're rotating the torso. But you're going to use the same muscles in your hip to help stabilize and find the external rotation, as well as abduction. Again, the tighter you are on your inner leg and your groin, the more the knee is going to want to pull into the midline, rotate internally and fall in. So breathe space across the groins. From your right inner upper thigh, your groin, release to your right knee. And from your left groin, release to your left knee. Take your left arm up. Then externally rotate your left arm and reach it overhead. Hug in the muscle in your right outer hip and see if you can open up your chest and get a little more length when you turn on that stabilizer. Bring your left hand back up. Bring your left hand down to the ground. So both hands on the inside of the foot as you spin your back heel up. Take a breath here in the lunge to lengthen. And then as you exhale, straighten your right leg as best you can and fold forward. Inhale, come back into your flat back. And step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward into plank pose. Set your knees down and lower slow to chaturanga. Hover right at elbow height, your chest above the ground. Then lift back up. Downward dog. Nice job, Amber. Stretch back. Inhale, raise your left leg up. Exhale, bring your knee to the outside of your left armpit. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale to your right foot. Inhale, back up. Step your foot up to your thumb. Then spin your back heel down and put your left hand on the inside of your foot. Right hand to your hip. So as you hold on the muscles in the outer hip, turn those on to help to externally rotate your thigh and stretch. Feel that you can start to spin open. Reach from your back hip into your back heel and feel the groins release towards their own inner knee without narrowing in the sacrum. Breathe into your lower back. Breathe space across the kidney ribs and across the sacrum. Use your breath to widen there. Take your right arm up and externally rotate as you reach overhead. Press straight down through your left heel. Engage your. Now take your right arm back up. Place your hand back down onto the mat as you spin your back heel up. Inhale to lengthen in your lunge. Exhale, straighten your left leg as best you can. Inhale up onto your fingertips, flat back. Then plant your hands and step back to downward dog. Inhale into plank pose. Knees down, lower slowly to chaturanga. Lift back up, downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. With your hands shoulder distance apart, press down evenly into your hands. Feet about hip socket distance apart. Hide your inner heels behind you. Look in between your hands. Step or hop up to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Now raise your right leg up behind you as you inhale. So the further you stretch and open up, the more the lower back's going to close. So keep your front ribs lifted. Keep your front hip bones drawn in so your sacrum stays broad. But now bend your knee and open up your hip. So just notice when you stabilize, the body can't move quite as much. but that stabilization is going to help to protect your joints. Now, see if you can get a little bit more movement from higher up your spine. Lengthen through your tail out of your lower back, and then get a little bit more rotation from your hip if possible. See if the thigh bone can rotate instead of borrowing from your lumbar. Then shift into plank pose, pull your knee up. Step your right foot for warrior one. Inhale, come up. Open up to your side for warrior two. In your warrior two, make sure that your back foot is angled in just a little bit. That's going to protect the joint of your back hip. So the back leg and how it fits into the hip socket, if you give a little bit of rotation in, it's going to allow the front leg to turn all the way. Now from here, straighten your right leg. Reach and put your hand down, triangle pose. So shin, ankle, block floor. Whatever works for you. Now to help to engage your leg, press down into your right foot and put a little micro bend in your knee. Now fasten from your right inner knee up into your right outer hip. Pull that muscle back. And then draw from the front hip bones in towards each other, front bottom ribs soften back towards the spine. Bend your right knee and step into Ardha Chandrasana. Slide your hand and foot in front of your pinky toe. Raise your back leg up. Bend that right knee again. We're going to work those same actions. Draw from your right inner knee towards your right outer hip. Turn the thigh bone in the hip socket. Grip the right outer hip towards your back heel, and then draw your front ribs in and down. Feel the opening that comes across your lower back. Bend your right knee, step back into warrior two. Bring your hands to the mat, vinyasa. Step your left foot, warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Two, open up to the side. Then straighten your left leg and reach into triangle pose. Put a little bend in your left knee, and as you press down into the big toe mound, little toe mound, and center of the heel, fasten from the left inner knee up to the left outer hip. See if you can find the external rotation in your hip so that the lower back doesn't cheat it. Breathe length through your lumbar. Now bend your left knee, slide your hand and foot in front of your pinky toe, and step up. With the little bend in your knee, rotate the femur in the hip socket. Grip your outer hip back towards your back heel. Lengthen through the midline. Now see if you can straighten your left leg, maintaining the rotation and the grip in your outer hip. Bend your knee and step back, warrior two. Straighten your left leg, step forward to the top of your mat. Stand in mountain pose. Now bring your right knee up to your chest. Now, if your hamstrings are super flexible, you might be able to take your big toe and reach your big toe out in front of you. But that's gonna be a small percentage. For most, you're just gonna work on getting the hip flexion and hug the knee up towards your chest like I'm showing. So from here, as you stabilize to your left leg and feel tall through your spine, now start to open your right leg to the right. As you press through the center of your left heel, engage the muscles in your right outer hip and see if it can help to open up the inner thigh a little bit more. Bring your leg back to center. Steady. Now raise your arms up overhead. See if you can hold your leg up, whether it's bent or straight. Two more breaths, legs strong. Good, now lower your right leg to meet your left. And bring your arms down at your side for mountain pose. Press down through your right heel, hug your left knee up to your chest. Hold there or practice taking your big toe. So as we work into the final week, I'll show you a variation to practice with the strap if you don't have the hamstring flexibility to take your big toe out in front of you. Open the leg to the side. Now bring your leg back to center and raise your arms up as you hold your leg up. See if you can find that mountain pose line just like Amber's showing. So you're balanced over your ankle, you're not leaning back. Lift the sides of your chest forward, up over your right ankle. Hold that leg up, one more breath. Good, now lower your left leg to meet your right and bring your arms down at your side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or out of vinyasa if you like. Inhale into plank pose. Come into plank on your forearms. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot and take your right arm up. And notice how Amber angled her left arm in, so it's not quite so much pull on the shoulder. So as you press down into the forearm, feel that you're lifted, you're not sinking into your shoulder. Turn on your obliques, the muscles in your side, and press down through your left outer foot. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes, turn on your core, so you're not just hanging into your joint. Slowly from here, change sides. Bring your right elbow down. Open up to the other side. Now, if it's just too much, you're like, oh geez, a lot of pressure on my shoulder, I don't feel quite steady enough, You can always set your knee down. Seal the forearm into the ground. Press down through that right outer foot and feel your obliques engage, the muscles in your legs and your glutes engage to help to facilitate your bandha. Slowly bring your left elbow down and hold here. Then set your knees down onto the ground and stretch back into child's pose. Reconnect to your breath. All right, now make your way onto your back. Lie on your back with your heels close to your buttock, feet hip distance apart, and lift up for bridge pose. As you press down into your feet, hug in with your thighs like you're holding a block so your knees point straight ahead. Descend your upper arm bones, open up across your collarbones and your chest. Two more breaths here. Now lower your hips back down and take Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees wide apart. Stretch your arms up and hook your thumbs. Now with your arms reach straight up in the air. As you exhale, let's hug the front of the rib cage in and down until you feel your back ribs down on the ground. So we're gonna work that same transverse action that we were working on breath day. Create a seal. As you exhale, hug in from all four sides of the bottom of the rib cage. Now breathe in, but don't lose the contact with the back ribs. Slowly reach your arms back. See if you can hold the back ribs down so that you're using your transverse in connection with the stretch of the arms. Don't be rigid about it. Instead, use the inhalation to create freedom so you can open up and spread the tension in the back ribs. Bring your arms back up. Hug your knees to your chest. Roll yourself up to seated. Sit in Dandasana with your legs stretched straight out in front of you. Bend your right knee back for Janu Shirshasana. So bend it like a tree pose, leg off to the side. Now, as you inhale, take your arms up again and hook your thumbs as you reach them straight up. Then just remember the back rib situation. Did the back ribs want to fall forward when your arms go up? Instead, use your transverse. This is your abdominal corset. It's going to help to protect your lower back and keep it healthy and strong. Now as you exhale, tip from your pelvis, reach and catch a hold of your foot. Inhale, make a flat back. Exhale, fold deeper. If the foot's not available to you and you don't have the forward mobility, just work on holding a strap and keeping a flat back as you start to walk yourself towards your foot. Inhale to come back up. Change legs. Stretch your right leg out. Bend your left knee back. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, reach out for your foot. Inhale, make a flat back again. Exhale, fold deeper. Inhale, come back up. Bend your right leg back, Baddha Konasana. Sit up tall. Now, if your knees are dropped down to the level of the top of your hip bone, then you might be a candidate to start to tip forward. But if your knees are way up and it's difficult just to sit up straight with your knees, don't work on folding forward. Just work on getting the thighs to open and the spine to elongate. So you're already in flexion of the hip just to be sitting upright. So that's already like kind of intense for most people. But if you have the flexibility to, and you're able to keep the knees descending and start to lean forward, then you could do that too. Remember, with your flexibility, don't think that one is better than the other. You're just going to where you feel the sensation of stretch. So that's why we have me showing the poses that I'm like the Tin Man. You can see what I look like. And then we have Amber, her body moves very freely. She has to go deeper so that she finds that barrier of stretch. So I want to encourage you to be where you're at and to feel okay in your pose. So go to where you feel the sensation, be there and breathe. That's where you're going to get the benefit from. You don't have to jam yourself to make yourself look like anybody else. Lie down onto your back for Savasana. Then gently bend your knees and roll over to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Bring your palms together. Thank you. Namaste. All right, thank you so much. I hope that you learned a little bit today about your hips and rotating and all that. Let me know below if you're able to find action in your outer hip. And thanks to Amber for coming out and showing us how it's done. Again, if you haven't already followed her on the gram, check her out. She's doing the yoga thing too. And we'll see you next time.